42.
42.
42.
42.
42.
42.
42.
42.
42. 42.
That number holds a fair amount of significance nowadays, largely thanks to the 20th century. I thought other numbers would have similar import, so I looked at both numbers surrounding it. But 41 and 43 only have a fraction of the meaning. The expression, to paraphrase, once is chance, twice is coincidence, thrice is intentional, dates back to at least 1905. If we see something, for example, in a certain 1980 horror film that occurs thrice or more, especially a somewhat unusual number like 42, I think we can say it's intentional, right? I'm going to start with the more ambiguous occurrences. There's around 42 vehicles in the hotel parking lot, 41 cars, but also the snowcat and this truck. And if you go back a few seconds, we see at least 6 more. So this supposed occurrence of 42 is false. Wendy hears that the missing Aspen woman is
24-year-old Susan Robertson.
Reverse her age because of the whole theme of mirrors and inversion to get 42. So, sure? Room 237. 2 times 3 times 7 is 42. But 2 plus 3 plus 7 is 12. So, maybe?
Stop swinging the bat.
Wendy swings the bat 42 times, if you count this. Does that count as a swing? I don't think so. But so close. Danny says red rum 43 times. So close again.
Red rum.
I'm not sure what to make of these occurrences that circle around 42 but don't quite make it. Should that count for anything? And finally, if you take the 21 from 1921, throw in the theme of doubles, there being 2 Gradys,
You were the caretaker here.
2 Grady girls, 2 Jacks, etc., 21 plus itself is 42. So, sure?
What is 21 out of 42?
But there are 4 actual confirmed occurrences on Danny's shirt. The movie they're watching is The Summer of 42.
Sure.
In the Miami News Report, it's a little hard to hear, but it's there. And on the license plate of Halloran's car. Wait, those are my initials. I know it's tough to make out, but it's apparent in 4K. It reads TG4247.
Do you know what this means?
Yes, it means Stanley Kubrick inserted this little cipher to inspire me to make a video on this very subject 40 plus years after the film's release. He was clearly a time traveler. Excuse me for my slight digression, but I think we've established that there is some kind of intentionality with 42. So now, why?
I don't know.
One idea holds that The Shining is a treatise on the cyclical nature of violence, in this case, the Holocaust, because on January 20th, 1942, the Nazi plan for exterminating European Jews was decided on, the so-called final solution. Kubrick had a Jewish upbringing, more or less, and was planning to make a Holocaust movie in the 90s, but was beaten to the punch by Schindler's List, which caused him to drop his own idea and pivot to Eyes Wide Shut. But I like this next idea a little more. Kubrick grew up in the Bronx, an avid baseball fan, attending numerous Yankee games. He was 18 when Jackie Robinson, the first black ball player, debuted for the crosstown Brooklyn Dodgers. Already a professional sports photographer, Kubrick would have been familiar with Robinson, and the abuse he suffered breaking the color barrier.
During the barnstorming tour in the South, he has been reviled by fans and shunned by his own teammates.
What year did he debut? 1947. The number after 42 on Halloran's license plate. Coincidence? Robinson's number is so tied to him, in fact, that it was retired by all of baseball in 1997.
Number 42 belongs to Jackie Robinson for the ages.
And remains the only number that no one can wear. It's literally the name of the movie about his life. FYI, the Torrance family bat has legendary Red Sox Carl Yastrzemski's signature, making sense as they hail from New England.
We're from Vermont.
Actually, Boston became the very last team to integrate, the polar opposite of Brooklyn. These previous ideas, though, beg the question, if 42 was so important to Kubrick, Why didn't he include it in any previous movie in a meaningful way? Breaking baseball's color barrier and the Holocaust occurred years before Kubrick's movie career ever started, i.e. he had plenty of chances to use it before 1980. Well, to play devil's advocate with myself, it would be because no other movie of his teems with history as much as The Shining.
Good evening.
Jackie Robinson, and certainly the Holocaust, fit the film's subtext of the historical cycle of prejudice and persecution against whole groups of people.
The site is supposed to be located on an Indian burial ground.
Let's now toss a couple theological theories against the wall for good measure. There are 42 letters in the name of God in Jewish Kabbalah. The Shining is probably Kubrick's most spiritual movie, so 42's peppered usage could be his way of hinting at a subtle, otherworldly power.
Orders from the house.
Additionally, the biblical beast will hold sway over Earth, according to Revelation, for 42 months. Jack even reverts into animalistic form by the end that one might call beast-like. There's something here about Jack injuring Danny 36 months ago.
It was 3 goddamn years ago!
Plus the 5 months of his sobriety.
He hasn't had any alcohol in 5 months.
Plus the 1 month they've been at the hotel. That adds up to 42 months. But it doesn't quite make sense since the 5 months overlap with the 3 years. Maybe you can figure this one out. Perhaps you've realized by now that almost any idea regarding 42 can be mapped onto this movie's utter ambiguity. Having said that, we finally come to my frontrunner. Stanley was known for having a, let's say, wry sense of humor.
Voila!
He turned pedophilia and nuclear war into comedies after all, and since 42 didn't play any significance in his previous movies, it stands to reason that something happened after Barry Lyndon that perhaps gave it, at least to him, some meaning. We know he was inspired by Freud's The Uncanny. Involuntary repetition forces upon us the idea of something fateful and inescapable, when otherwise we should have spoken only of chance, which sounds a lot like this phrase. If we notice that everything which has a number has the same one, we feel this to be uncanny. If we combine Freud's essay, Stanley's avid BBC radio listening, and the timing of everything, it points toward the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I didn't know this previously, but the Hitchhiker's Guide was, before book form, a BBC radio series that first aired in early 1978, right when The Shining was in pre-production outside London.
The answer to everything.
Yes?
Life, the universe, and everything.
Yes?
Is.
Yes?
Is.
Yes?
42.
42?
The number, being so important in that story, yet comically mundane,
42.
may have tickled Kubrick's fancy. In The Shining, he subtly repeats it to generate subconscious creepiness and possibly to wink at Hitchhiker's fans. It's the answer to life, the universe, and everything, while telling us nothing. Like Freud's uncanny, ambiguity and unsatisfaction are features, not bugs. This is just one layer of many that makes The Shining so rewatchable. Maybe this time I'll finally get it. Now, if this video had only come out last year, on the film's 42nd anniversary, then we'd really be tempting fate.
42.
42? Oh.
Take one guess at my age.